My wife had me block her ex on everything. I trusted her until I found a second phone in her purse while looking for Tylenol. When I confronted her, she laughed. "You really thought you were enough?" she said, scrolling past messages she didn't even try to hide. "He never stopped loving me. You were just the stable phase." She walked out with her suitcase while our daughter watched. I said nothing, but the next day, I printed every message and sent them to one person she never thought I'd tell. We were one of those couples that looked good from the outside. Married 8 years. A 6-year-old daughter. House in a quiet part of Illinois. Decent jobs. Friends thought we had it all figured out. Truth is, I think I let myself believe it too. I didn't ask too many questions. I didn't push when she got quiet or moody. I just try to be the kind of husband who gives space, supports, shows up. Boring stuff, maybe, but steady. That's all I ever wanted to be. Steady. We met through mutual friends in our late 20s. She'd just gotten out of a messy breakup. She didn't talk about it much, just called him the mistake. Said she lost herself with him, and she was trying to build a new life. I respected that. I backed off when she needed time. Let her lead. About a year in, she told me she still had a lot of unresolved baggage and asked if I'd mind blocking her ex on all my socials. I thought it was weird at first, but she said it helped her feel safe. Not having him pop up or check things. She said he was the jealous type. Controlling. The kind of guy who didn't let go. So I did it. No questions. I blocked him on everything. Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn. Deleted his number. I didn't even know the guy. She seemed lighter after that. Happier. We got engaged the next year. Things were fine for a long time. Routine. We had our daughter, bought a house, juggled work and daycare like everyone else. We weren't exciting, but we worked. Or I thought we did. She started getting more private a couple years ago. Subtle things. She used to leave her phone on the kitchen counter while she cooked. Now it was always in her pocket. She'd go take a call in the car. Said it was work. Started staying up late with her laptop. Asked a few times if everything was okay. She said I was being paranoid. That it was work stress. I believed her. Then one morning she had a headache. We were getting ready to take our daughter to the zoo, and she asked me to grab Tylenol from her purse. She was brushing our daughter's hair, and I was in the bedroom, digging through the bag. That's when I found it. It was tucked into the side pocket, underneath a makeup bag. Not her usual phone. She had a newer iPhone with a pink case. This one was older. Black. No case. Just loose in her bag. I pressed the power button. No password. It opened right away. Messages were on the screen. Dozens of them. All from the same number. No name, just a number. The first one said, "I dreamt about you again last night." I sat down on the edge of the bed. Scrolled. The messages went back months. Voice notes. Pictures. Plans. Conversations that clearly had nothing to do with catching up. They'd met up. Slept together. Talked about when she would leave. He asked about me. She said I was dull, but dependable. Said she was tired of playing house. There were photos of them in a hotel. One message said, "Your little family life was cute, but it's time to come home." Another one, "Friday after school drop-off. I'll wait at the diner." I didn't feel anything right away. No rage. Just a cold, detached kind of clarity. I closed the phone, put it back exactly where I found it, zipped up the purse. Took the Tylenol out and brought it to her like nothing happened. We went to the zoo. I held our daughter's hand. Took pictures. Smiled. That night, after she fell asleep, I went back into the bag. Pulled out the phone again. Took photos of every message. Every thread. I emailed them to myself. Then I made a folder on my laptop and backed it up. For 3 days, I didn't say anything. I acted normal. Cleaned the house. Made dinner. Played with our kid. Then Thursday night, I asked her, "Do you think we're happy?" She looked up from her phone and laughed, like it was a stupid question. "You really thought you were enough?" she said. "He never stopped loving me. You were just the stable phase." She didn't flinch, didn't try to lie, didn't cry. She just shrugged, like she'd been waiting to say it. She picked up her suitcase from the hall closet. It was already packed, like she'd been ready. Then she walked out, past our daughter, past me. Our little girl stood by the stairs, confused. She didn't understand why Mommy was leaving. I couldn't speak. My throat locked up. I didn't explain. I just held her. The next day, I called in sick to work. I went to a print shop. Had every single message printed out. Hundreds of pages. Highlighted parts. Added dates. Photos. Then I sealed them in an envelope and mailed them to the one person she never thought I'd tell. The envelope I mailed didn't go to her new boyfriend. I thought about it. I thought about letting him read what she said about him, too. How she called him reckless, said she didn't trust him with our daughter, how she worried about his drinking. But I didn't send it to him. I sent it to her mother. She and her mom weren't close. They talked maybe twice a year, mostly out of guilt. But I knew something about her mom she always used against her. Her mom hated cheaters. Her own husband had cheated when she was young, and it messed her up for years. That's why she raised my wife with this whole "don't let men fool you" mindset. I sent it to her with a note. I didn't sign it, just wrote, "You should know who your daughter really is." 3 days later, her mom called me. Her voice was low, like she didn't know how to start. She asked if it was true, if it was real. I told her everything. She didn't defend her. She didn't cry. She just sighed and said, "I had a feeling." After that, I heard nothing. Not from my wife, not from her boyfriend. Nothing. I kept the phone hidden, kept my copies, waited. A week later, she showed up again. No call. Just rang the doorbell on a Saturday morning. She looked different, rushed, irritated, like she hadn't slept much. I opened the door. She stepped inside without asking. "I need to talk," she said. I didn't say anything. Just crossed my arms. She looked around, saw our daughter in the living room watching cartoons. Dropped her voice. "Did you send it to my mom?" I didn't answer. She stepped closer. "You think this makes you look good? You think dragging my whole family into this helps anything?" I stayed quiet. Let her keep going. "You think you're the victim, huh? But you weren't enough. I told you years ago I didn't feel seen. You're not some hero because you provided stability. You're a shell, and I needed more than that." I looked at her. Really looked. There was no regret in her voice. Just anger that I pulled the curtain back. "You brought our daughter into this mess," I said finally. "She saw you leave." "You let her see that," she shot back. "No. You let her see you walk out with another man waiting down the street. You decided that." She didn't deny it. Then she said something that stuck with me. "You never really knew me." And I realized she was right. I thought she wanted a life, a home, a family. But maybe she just wanted to be rescued for a while. And I was the one dumb enough to think I'd be the last chapter, not just the intermission. She left again. This time without her suitcase. Just her voice echoing in the hallway. I figured that would be it. That she'd disappear into her new life with the guy she claimed never stopped loving her. But 2 weeks later, I got a letter. Not from her. From a lawyer. She wanted custody. The letter hit like a punch to the chest. Joint custody. She wanted our daughter half the week. She wanted to keep the house on rotation until the courts figure it out. She wanted everything split, down to the furniture. The same woman who walked out without looking back. I sat at the kitchen table for a long time, just staring at the envelope. Our daughter was in the other room, drawing something with crayons. I could hear her humming. I knew what my wife was doing. It wasn't about our kid. Not really. She was trying to make sure I didn't have control. She knew I'd never fight dirty. She was counting on that. So I hired a lawyer. Expensive. I had to borrow against my 401k and max out a credit card. But I needed someone who'd actually fight back. I gave him the phone, the messages, the hotel receipts, everything. He read them quietly, then nodded. "She messed up," he said. "This isn't going to go her way." We filed for full custody. That's when things got worse. One night, around 11 p.m., I heard someone outside. I looked through the blinds, her boyfriend, sitting in his car across the street. Lights off. Engine running. He didn't knock. Didn't come to the door. Just sat there for almost an hour, then drove off. Next day, I installed cameras. A week later, I caught him trying to peek into our backyard. My daughter's swing set was back there. He didn't know about the cameras. I called the police. Filed a report. Gave them the footage. She tried to spin it. Said I was making him look dangerous. Said I was trying to turn our daughter against her. But then her mom stepped in. She called me again. Said she'd seen the texts, every one. Said her daughter had always been a liar, but this crossed the line. And then she offered something I didn't expect. She said she wanted to testify for me. That was the beginning of the real shift. Her mom had always stayed quiet, stayed out of it. But once she saw the truth, she changed sides completely. I'm not doing this for you, she said. I'm doing it for that little girl. Court got ugly. She cried on the stand. Claimed I was emotionally distant. Said I pushed her into someone else's arms. But the judge read the texts. Saw the dates. Saw the plans she made behind my back. We got temporary full custody. She got supervised visits. She looked at me like I'd stolen something from her. But the part that really got me, the part that still sits in my chest, is what our daughter said the first night she came back from one of those visits. She sat next to me on the couch, quiet, playing with her stuffed bear. Then she looked up and said, "Mommy says you made her sad." I didn't know what to say. So I just said, "Do you feel safe here?" She nodded, then whispered, "Don't make me go if I don't want to." After that night, I stopped trying to shield my daughter from everything. I didn't badmouth her mom. I didn't coach her. But I stopped lying. If she asked something, I answered it plain and honest. When she asked why her mom didn't live with us anymore, I told her because she made choices that hurt people. When she asked if her mom still loved her, I said, yes. But sometimes people love in the wrong way. I could see it in her eyes. She understood more than I wanted her to. Kids always do. Then the boyfriend started texting me. First it was just taunts. "You think you won, huh? And she's gonna take that kid back, you watch." Then it got personal. "She told me what you're really like. That your little girl grows up hating you." I didn't respond. Just forwarded every message to my lawyer. Eventually he showed up at my work. I manage inventory for a flooring supply company, small place, maybe 15 employees. He waited until I was outside loading a truck, then pulled up and tried to get in my face. Said I ruined her. Said he should take me apart. That's when my boss called the cops. Guy got a warning and a trespass notice. He backed off for a while. The court stuff dragged for months. She fought to have unsupervised visits. Claimed she was in therapy. Sent the judge proof of some online parenting course she took. But she never once apologized. Not to me. Not to her daughter. Then came the hearing that changed everything. My lawyer submitted a motion to review a new batch of messages, stuff I hadn't even seen before. Turns out, she didn't just cheat with the ex. She kept a burner email where she'd been messaging 2 other men. One of them she met during our separation. The other one overlapped with our marriage by at least a year. The judge read them silently, then looked up and asked her one question. "Why should I trust your judgment?" She didn't answer. We walked out of the courthouse with primary custody made permanent. But none of it felt like a win. Because the next week, our daughter came home from a supervised visit holding a handmade bracelet. Said her mom gave it to her. "It's a magic bracelet," she told me. "Mommy said if I wear it, I'll always think of her." She was proud of it. Showed it off like it was gold. That night, I took a closer look at the bracelet when she was asleep. Inside one of the beads was a tiny rolled-up note. I unwrapped it. It said, "Tell Daddy you miss me every day, even if you don't." I sat at the kitchen table with that tiny note in my hand for almost an hour. It wasn't just manipulative. It was calculated. She knew exactly what she was doing, getting around court rules through a child's bracelet, using our daughter like a messenger. The next morning, I called my lawyer and told him everything. He didn't say much at first. Then he sighed and said, "She's playing a long game." We filed a request to have her visitation rights reviewed again. I submitted the bracelet. I took pictures, included a typed version of the note, explained how it made our daughter feel. Pressured, confused, like love had rules attached. That's what really broke me. The idea that our daughter might grow up thinking love was something you perform, something you fake to keep the peace. When the judge saw the bracelet and the note, he didn't get angry. He just looked tired, like he'd seen this before. He revoked her unsupervised visits completely. Ordered that any future contact had to be supervised by a licensed third party. No gifts, no notes, nothing passed between them that wasn't approved. When I told our daughter, she didn't cry. She just looked at me and said, "Will she be mad at me?" That was the moment I realized something had shifted. Our daughter had started carrying shame that didn't belong to her. "She might be," I said gently, "but it's not your job to fix that." She nodded. Quiet. Too quiet for a 6-year-old. After that, things got tense. Her mother started showing up late for visits. Then she stopped showing up at all. The supervisor would call me and say she never confirmed, didn't answer, no message. Weeks went by. Then months. My daughter stopped asking about her. She started calling me Dad, again, instead of Daddy. That one hurt more than I expected. I found myself holding on to little things, drawings she made, old notes she'd leave me when she first learned to write. "I love you, Dad. You are good." I kept them in a drawer by my bed. Then one night, just after New Year's, my phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Unknown number. Just one message. He left me. I stared at it. My hands were cold. Not because I was scared, but because I knew what was coming next. Another message followed. "Can we talk?" I didn't answer. The next morning, there was a knock on the door. And this time it wasn't her. It was her ex. The same man she left me for. The one who said he never stopped loving her. And he had something to tell me. I opened the door expecting some kind of confrontation. Maybe he came to swing at me, or scream, or threaten to take her back. But he looked worn out. Hollow eyes. Stubble that had gone patchy. Hoodie pulled tight even though it wasn't cold. "I just need 5 minutes," he said. "Then I'll leave." I didn't invite him in. Just stepped out onto the porch and shut the door behind me. He nodded like he expected that. "I'm not here for her," he started. "I'm done with her." I didn't say anything. "She lied to me too," he continued. "About everything." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded sheet of paper. Shaky hands. Looked like a printed email thread. "She was seeing another guy. While she was with me. While she was married to you, too. Someone from her job. They had plans to move to Arizona. She said I was too dramatic. Said I was just a backup if the other one didn't work out." He looked me straight in the eye. "She said I was just the first step out." For a second, I didn't feel anything. Then it hit. This man, this person I hated, wasn't the villain anymore. He was just another body she'd stepped over. "She ever say that to you?" he asked. I nodded slowly. "She called me the stable phase." He exhaled through his nose. Almost laughed. "She's broken, man," he said finally. "I kept thinking I could fix her. But she doesn't want to be fixed. She wants to feel powerful." Then he looked at the door behind me, the door to the house where my daughter was sleeping. "Just protect that little girl," he said. "Don't let her grow up thinking this is love." He left without waiting for anything else. I stood there until his car disappeared down the street. When I went back inside, I found the paper he dropped. It was an email. From her. Dated a few weeks before she left me. She wrote, "He'll never fight back. He's too soft. I can walk away with no scars." That night, after I read the email again, I sat in the dark for a long time. She'll never fight back. She's too soft. That wasn't about love. That was about control. About someone who saw compassion as weakness. Someone who didn't believe in consequences because she'd never had to face any. I looked over at the baby monitor on the counter. My daughter was fast asleep, curled up with the same stuffed bear she'd had since she was a toddler.
She didn't know any of this.
Not the email.
Not the visits her mom missed.
Not the men.
But someday she might.
And the idea that she'd grow up thinking that kind of love was normal, it lit something in me I hadn't felt before. So, I filed for a formal psychological evaluation. Not for her. For my wife. My lawyer warned me it wouldn't be easy. The court doesn't like to get involved in mental health unless there's real risk. But I had the note in the bracelet, the ex's messages, the printed emails, and I had the missed visits. 3 in a row, no contact. We submitted everything.
She didn't take it well.
I got a call from her the day the papers were served. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail screaming at me, accusing me of trying to destroy her. Said I was brainwashing our daughter. Said I was a coward hiding behind lawyers. That same night, I got a message from an unknown number. It was a photo of my daughter, taken from a distance while she played in our front yard.
No caption.
No name. Just the image. I called the police immediately. Sent them everything. They traced the number to a burner phone. Registered in a fake name, no real trail. My lawyer filed an emergency motion. We asked for a restraining order. Not just against her, but anyone acting on her behalf. We asked for monitored contact only through a family center. We asked for access to any new relationship she was in. Because now it wasn't just about hurt feelings or betrayal. It was about safety. The judge scheduled a hearing. And on that day, for the first time, I saw her truly rattled. Hair unbrushed. Eyes sunken. Her lawyer whispering frantically in her ear. When the judge asked about the picture, she claimed she didn't know anything about it. Then the judge turned to me and asked if I still wanted to allow future contact. And I didn't know what to say. Because part of me still wanted my daughter to have a mother. But another part, the one that kept that photo in his drawer, the one that replayed the voicemail, the bracelet, the silence, knew what had to be done. I looked at the judge, then at her. She wouldn't meet my eyes. My lawyer leaned in and whispered, "If you hesitate, they'll leave a window open for her." So I spoke clearly. I want her contact limited. Fully supervised. No gifts, no phone calls, no unmonitored interaction. And if she violates it again, I want it cut off. The judge nodded. So noted. Her lawyer jumped in, trying to salvage what he could. Asked for leniency. Said she was going through emotional hardship. The judge stopped him. This is a child's life. Not therapy for adults who don't take accountability. He granted everything I asked for. Every restriction. Every boundary. Then he paused and added one more thing. If she missed one more supervised visit, just one, the court would begin proceedings to suspend parental rights altogether. That was the moment she finally looked up. Her face didn't break. She didn't cry. But her mouth opened like she wanted to scream and couldn't find the breath. That night, my daughter crawled into bed with me. Didn't say why. She just curled into my side, grabbed my hand and whispered, "I'm glad you don't leave." She didn't know what had happened. Not the court order. Not the threats. Not the photo. But something in her already understood who was staying and who wasn't. The next week, we had her first supervised visit at the family center. I drove her there, waited in the car. 30 minutes passed. Then 45. She never showed. No call. No message. Nothing. The center logged it. Reported it. My lawyer filed the notice with the court. The countdown had begun. 6 months without contact. That's what the judge gave her. 6 months to prove she could show up, follow rules, and keep her life stable. If she failed, we'd file to terminate her parental rights. I didn't want to win like this. But I wasn't going to lose quietly either. 2 months in, we got another letter. This time, not from her. From Child Protective Services. The envelope was plain. No return address. Just my name and home address typed on the front. Inside was a folded letter from the Department of Children and Family Services. Subject line: Notification of investigation. Anonymous concern report. At first, I thought it was about her. Maybe someone reported her for neglect, or for missing the visits. Maybe her ex had finally stepped in and said something. But then I kept reading. The report wasn't about her.
It was about me.
Someone had called in an anonymous tip accusing me of being emotionally unstable, restrictive, and potentially manipulating the child's perception of her mother. My stomach dropped. They said I was coaching the child to fear her mother, that I was refusing contact and creating a false narrative. It was almost word for word what she used to say in court. I sat down hard at the kitchen table, rereading it again and again. My hands shook. I wasn't perfect, but I never said anything to make my daughter afraid of her mom. I'd gone out of my way to keep it clean, to let her ask her own questions. I called my lawyer. He wasn't surprised. She's trying to get ahead of the 6-month mark, he said. If she can convince CPS there's alienation, she might delay termination. So CPS scheduled an in-home visit. That week, I cleaned the house top to bottom, pulled every school report, every doctor's note, every message between me and the court monitor. I even printed photos, birthday parties, zoo trips, drawings from my daughter. Proof of normal life. The agent came on a Tuesday morning. She was polite,
Young.
clipboard and calm voice. She talked to me first. Asked if I had any history of therapy, medication, conflict. I told her everything. Gave her copies of court filings, restraining orders, the incident with the bracelet. Then she asked to speak to my daughter alone. I watched them sit on the couch. My daughter answered questions while coloring. I heard her say words like safe and I like it here and dad helps with homework. After 30 minutes, the agent stood up. She gave me a tight nod. We'll follow up in writing, she said. But between us, this doesn't look like what the report said. I asked if she knew who filed it. She didn't answer. Just said, you can probably guess. 3 days later, I got another letter. Case closed. Unsubstantiated. But in the margin, there was a handwritten note from the agent. If anything else happens, don't wait. Document everything. A week after the CPS case was closed, I started to breathe again. I thought it was finally done. I thought she'd give up once it was clear no one believed her lies. Then her sister showed up at my door. I hadn't seen her since the wedding. We were never close. She always seemed to carry the same cold streak her sister had, just quieter. She didn't look mad when I opened the door. She looked tired. I'm not here to take sides, she said. But I need to tell you something. I let her in. She sat down on the edge of the couch like she didn't plan to stay long. She told us you were abusive, she said quietly. That's what she's been saying to the whole family. For months. She said you isolated her, trapped her, that you're keeping her daughter from her out of revenge. I felt sick. She even said you hit her once, said she had a bruise, showed pictures. I shook my head. Never. Not once. She nodded. I believe you now. I didn't before. But then I found this. She reached into her bag and pulled out a phone. Not hers. A small, cheap burner. She left it at my apartment by accident. It's not the one she uses for court. It's not the one she texts you from. It's the one she doesn't want anyone to see. She unlocked it. I saw everything. She'd been sending messages from fake numbers, pretending to be me. She'd texted herself threats, saved them, sent them to lawyers, even forwarded them to her mother. She faked entire conversations, building a paper trail of abuse. She even wrote one that said, I'll make sure you never see her again. You're dead to both of us. I sat in silence. I couldn't speak. I couldn't feel anything. Her sister put the phone down on the table. You need to use this.
Now.
Before she disappears with that kid. That night, I made copies. I sent the phone to my lawyer, to the judge, to the court monitor. I sent it to CPS. I sent it to her employer. Yes, I tracked that down too. I didn't just want to win anymore. I wanted her exposed. The court called an emergency hearing. She didn't show. Her lawyer did, but barely spoke. Just sat there while the judge read the evidence out loud. You impersonated the father. You fabricated threats. You staged messages. This is not just unethical, it's criminal. The judge signed an order on the spot. Full termination of parental rights. No visitation. No contact. She was legally erased from our daughter's life. They issued a warrant. She was found 4 days later, hiding in a motel 3 towns over. She had a new phone, a new notebook full of notes about custody strategy, and a printed photo of our daughter, one I'd never seen, taken from a school parking lot. They arrested her, charged her with multiple counts: harassment, obstruction, impersonation, fraud. I didn't go to the sentencing. I didn't need to.
She got time.
Not much, but enough to finally be locked out of the life she tried to ruin. Her sister kept the burner phone. She said she wanted to be the one to show their mother. I never saw her again after that. As for me, I did my share of damage too. I stayed too long. I let my daughter believe things were okay when they weren't. I kept secrets because I thought they'd protect her. But she knew. She always knew. Sometimes at night, she still asks about her mother. Not in a sad way. Just curious. I tell her the truth, piece by piece. One day, I'll show her everything. But not yet. Right now, I'm just trying to teach her the one thing her mother never understood. Love isn't a game you play to win. It's something you stay for, even when no one's watching. Even when it costs you. Even when it hurts.